You've been in Delhi now for a couple of years, and you've
Yes.
really set the example with by riding around in a rickshaw with the Mexican flag flying. How has that been? How has that gone down in India?
First of all, they were very surprised that an ambassador would choose a vehicle like that. But in an environment like Delhi, choosing a gas vehicle is already a very good thing. Then choosing one that you are out to the elements is even maybe less common. But on the other hand, millions of Indians use that vehicle every day. They set the example for us. It is the other way around. It's not that I am setting the example for anybody. I'm just using a much better vehicle for the environment. And there's been a discussion on how do you work around environment. The first thing that I think we should understand is that for changing the environment and for changing air pollution, the first thing that we have to do is that we have to change our ways. I'm trying to contribute to the city that today is mine and to the region that today is mine after having lived in the city that once was thought as the worst air polluted city in the world.
Mexico City.
Mexico City. In anything between the late 80s and the early 90s, Mexico was declared the worst polluted city in the world by the World Health Organization. After 25 years, we are one of the top 40 cities. Still we are fighting against pollution, and still we cannot sort of say we have won the battle. Because when you live in the basin of a valley, 2,000 meters above sea level, there is never a quiet day. So initially we thought that air pollution was a seasonal thing, more to do with the winter because of the characteristics of Mexico City and the inversions that you know so well in Kathmandu of air pollution.
Topography of Kathmandu. It looks very similar to Mexico City.
It's very similar.
And as you said, the inversion there, in the beginning it is worse in winter. But as time goes on and as vehicle numbers increase, it does become a lot of pollution is coming from vehicular exhaust. But here it's slightly more complicated, I think, than in Mexico City because the source of air pollution is very diverse. There's also open garbage burning, there is crop residue burning from the hinterland as well as from India, blowing in because of prevailing winds. How do you tackle it when there is such a diverse range?
For many years in Mexico we had the same issues with crop burning. So slowly you have to also in a way re-educate the farmers and give them possibilities to do it with machinery. And today the readings and the science around air pollution is much more advanced and better read than in the 1980s or the 1990s when we started all of this. So the facts are there, the science is there. We have to have a public policy that has to do with science, and it has to be measurable.
Right.
So for example, you have to change the fuel that you use. We cannot still use the same fuel that we used to use years before. Your car has to have catalytic converters. You cannot have human development living in a very industrial area. So your industries have to have standards that are very, very high if they want to have industries in Kathmandu or in the different zoning.
You also tried out public transport. You really upgraded your public transport. How important was that as a factor in reducing Mexico City's air pollution?
It was very important, but let me tell you that throughout 25 years, we have done many small things. There was not one thing that we did that made it happen. And that has to be something that people have to understand in Nepal. It is not a magical sort of fix. It is not, okay, the cars won't function for 15 days and that's it. No, you have to change your ways, I have to change my ways, everybody has to sort of contribute. The population has to be very clear that this is a health hazard. A health hazard for you and for me, but what's more important, a health hazard for our children. Our children will get less oxygen in their brains, Our children will have less capacity in the lungs. You and I used to play around in our cities. Our children should not play around in our cities if the air is as it is. And we should be very careful with children and older people. So public transportation is vital.
Lessons that Nepal could learn from earthquake prevention and disaster preparedness from Mexico. I mean, you just had some very serious tremors and a major earthquake a couple of decades ago.
Just a year ago, the 19th of September last year.
So what are the lessons for a big city sitting smack on a seismic zone?
Prevention, prevention, prevention. Yeah.
You were just going to go into a mayor's summit of Kathmandu Valley's mayors. How important is that political will that you just mentioned in driving this combating?
Two wills are very important. That of the leaders and that of the people. The people have to push the leaders and the leaders have to push the people. We have to be, as authority, adamant to define and do what we have to do for the benefit of everybody. And as citizens, we have to push our leaders to do it. So there is no such thing as only the leaders are doing what they have to do or only the people are doing what they have to do.
What would be your message to our mayors?
To our mayors, the message will be, you need policies that go across. It will help everybody, and it doesn't matter what party you are. And these environment and health has no political sort of...
I think that's the most important message we can give to our politicians. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you. Welcome. Thank you very much for having me.